Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. We're going to begin our program with invocation led by Betty Harvey, owner of Betty Harvey Consulting, followed by our national anthem played by Wesley Gentle, Director and President of Arts Fort Worth.
Thank you, Rebecca, President Rebecca. And before I begin, I just want us to consider fellow Rotarian Johnny Anderson, who's in the hospital, just to include him in our thoughts and prayers. As we gather today, let us take a moment to acknowledge the positive forces that guide us and to express gratitude for the opportunity to serve our community. Please join me in a moment of reflection with our friends beside us and no person beneath us, with the bonds of Rotary between us and our worries behind us, with our goals before us and no task beyond us. We strive to live by the Rotary ideals of service above self and are thankful for our Rotary friends, guests, the meal we share, and today's meeting. Enjoy.
Thank you, Betty and Wesley. Now to welcome today's visitors, Michelle Krim, President of Dynamic Development Strategies.
All righty, friends. So we have a lot of great guests and visitors, and I'm sure somebody is bringing the list of names any second now. So here's a couple of guidelines. If you're a guest and we call your name when we get the list, you'll stand. And the rest of you, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. All right? So I know that Carlo is running, I can see him right now, to get the list. Now, first off, to our sister city, let me apologize in advance for any mispronunciations that I'm sure that I'm going to commit. My apologies. So sorry. Well, the list is coming any moment now. We could do a newscast instead. Yes. Today is National Philanthropy Day. Philanthropy means love of mankind. That's your fun fact for the day. Woohoo! We got it. All righty. Okay. So first off is, these are all folks coming from our sponsor, Team Compton. Thank you to our sponsor. So Ryan Price, if you'll stand up, please. Thank you. Also from Team Compton, thank you, our sponsor, Daryl Moore. Thank you. A guest of Brad Nolan is Susan Mitchell. A guest of Roland Johnson is, I believe it's either Cindy Johnson or, yeah, Cindy Johnson. We had a write-in, sorry. Okay, so here's the write-in. A guest of Connie Blake, who needs no introduction. Jens Wallaby, might be close, sorry, is it Jens? All righty. We have a visiting Rotarian, a guest of past President Sean Snell, Kim Wynn. And I believe with the Cross Timbers Rotary, so thank you for being here today. So a guest of Everywhere All the Time, Ben Robertson, is Taylor Willis. And Wesley General has several guests. Catherine Smith, we know who you are. And I believe this is Michaela Vasquez. Okay. Apologies for the mispronunciation. Maddie Compton has a guest, Dan Stiver. Okay, Evan Eastman has the other Evan. I'm sorry, I cannot read the handwriting. Johnny, okay, so sorry, guest of Evans. All righty, so here's where it gets difficult, guys, and I apologize in advance. Guest of past President Carlo Capia from Sister Cities, and oh, Lord, help me on this one. Okay, so Bambai Babambi from, I know it's bad, I'm sorry, S1 So again, I butchered that, I apologize. So the first one is it Kippen de Alba, Chu, so sorry. The Honorable Mayor Mahantra, I'm so sorry. We have Counselor Mamana, yes, thank you. Counselor Malaza, all right, yeah, you get two. As badly as I pronounce that, you get two, my apologies. And again, I'm so sorry on this one. Is it Fa Kanzi? I know, it's horrible, y'all. Throw me out. So sorry, just stand up, yes. Mr. Benedict Gambinzi? All right, I got a little better. I will never be asked back again to do this. A guest of Jonathan Berry, John Hernandez. I saw you a second ago. A guest of Stephen Ranside is Laura, again, the handwriting, so sorry, McKintry. Did I say that wrong, of course? Yes, Laura, thank you. Laura Garcia is a guest of President Rebecca Montgomery. I got one of those right. All right, y'all, I'm done, so sorry.
You're awesome. Michelle, thank you. I think everyone in here can say we appreciate you being up here and not the rest of us, right? Thank you, and welcome to all of our guests. This is a great day, and I believe we know who won the long distance travel award. This table right here. Carlo, thank you for bringing everyone in, and thank you all to our guests here today. Today's meeting is being sponsored by Team Compton, courtesy of our club's Sergeant at Arms, Rotarian Maddie Compton, retired federal prosecutor. Team Compton was established in 2000, is a family-managed nonprofit organization dedicated to identifying and providing financial and hands-on support to a wide range of nonprofit entities, including but not limited to the arts, education, health, housing, justice, and religious initiatives. Team Compton supports local, national, and international programs. Thank you, Team Compton, and thank you, Maddie. Now it is time we recite our four-way test. For those guests, you can follow us on the screen, the four-way test. This is a roadmap we as Rotarians follow and how we conduct our lives, not just here at lunch, but every day of the week with everyone we encounter. So please join us. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill? And fourth, will be beneficial to all. Thank you. Great job, everyone. Now, are you ready? No. The moment is here. Today's newscaster, Mitch Reitman, principal with Reitman Consulting Group. Mitch, take it away.
We should really do this before the four-way test. Thank you. I feel about as welcome as Micah Parsons at a Cowboys staff coaching staff meeting. First for the weather. It's chilly out there. It's so chilly that Jerry Jones is putting solar heat windows in AT&T Stadium. This is the first newscast that I've done since the new no politics rule. And we haven't really had a newscast in about a month, but there's one election I just have to talk about. This week was the final vote on the Golden Bachelorette. Joan gave the rose and got engaged to Chuck, a not very astute, but very outgoing insurance agent. The other finalist, Guy, an educated and talented ER doctor who was favored to win, vowed to accept the results and move on. Maybe now our nation can heal. In other romance news, Tice Easter married Caitlin Ansari in a Home Depot in Cleveland. They had met in the hardware aisle 6 months ago and decided to have the ceremony there. I hope they can find happiness, because I can never find anything at Home Depot. NASA announced that its 2 astronauts who have been stuck in space for 6 months were not suffering health issues, as has been rumored on social media. Although they have been out of touch for so long, they still think the Cowboys have a chance to go into the Super Bowl. Boxer Mike Tyson will fight 27-year-old Jake Paul tonight at AT&T Stadium. Jake referred to him as an obnoxious has-been whose last major victory was before Paul was even born. Reporters asked if he was referring to Tyson or to stadium owner Jerry Jones. Tyson fought Kevin McBride in 2005. After the fight, he said, "I do not have the guts for this sport anymore. I'm sorry for the fans who paid money for this." Don't we all wish Jerry Jones would say this? A Spirit Airlines flight was struck by gunfire as it was attempting to land at Port-au-Prince, Haiti. The plane circled and continued to take rifle fire until all the passengers agreed to pay a $25 change fee to land in the Dominican Republic. NBC has announced that it's going to remake Alien Nation, which focuses on people from another planet coping with life on Earth. The new version will have people from Earth coping with life on Earth. In computer news, the world's top Donkey Kong player has been convicted of cheating. The judge was going to sentence him to life, but his attorney pointed out that he doesn't have a life. And finally, in Canada, a motorcycle gang is attacking businesses that they don't like by giving them bad reviews. They're called Yelp's Angels. And this weekend's weather will be pleasant with a chance of thunderstorms, but don't be sad. If it wasn't for the weather, we could never finish the newscast.
Great job. Thank you, Mitch. I guess we should be prepared for the no Dallas Cowboys policy to come, something like that. Great job. Now, please help me welcome Greg Carter, Managing Director with WRG, sharing an upcoming Rotary opportunity.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and friends. We have another opportunity. This is our 6th annual We Care event. It will be on December 10th. This is a philanthropy from the Community Outreach Committee where we go hand in hand with the Boys and Girls Clubs and we create crafts with the kids. The goal is to teach them to give is better than to receive. But how do you do that if you don't have gifts to give? So we have 13 tables with about 100 volunteers that create crafts that they can give to grandma and grandpa. And then, of course, Santa Claus shows up around 5 o'clock to give them gifts. So this is a call to action. We need about 30 volunteers. We need chaperones and we need face painters. We'd love to have you. It's from 3 to 7 p.m. Show up for a little bit, show up for the whole time. Make these kids have a great holiday. So thank you so much. One more thing. On your table is a sign-up sheet. You can sign up the old-fashioned way by writing your name and your email, and I'll collect them at the end. Or there's a QR code that you can use as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg, so much. How many in this room has participated in the past? This is an amazing, yes, this is an amazing program. So we look forward to seeing all of you and more as well. And I want to take just a quick moment to acknowledge one of our own Rotarians. Last weekend was the district gala at Texas Motor Speedway, just north of us, and our district governor, Andy Eads, recognized one of our own, Miss Cecilia Marugo, polio survivor. He acknowledged her, had her come up and share her story and the importance of, as we fight to continue to eradicate this horrible disease. And I just want to say thank you. We appreciate you representing us so well, and we're glad you're here with us. Thank you very much. Now, time for one of our favorite things, membership time. Our very own Club Secretary Christina Judge with first reading.
Yes, this is the best part of my job as secretary. So we have two first readings today. The proposed members are John R. Kirk, Sales Manager, Company, Linear Roofing and General Contractors, Classification Contracting. Proposer is Corey Harris. Second reading is Troy D. Higgins. He is the branch manager of Morgan Stanley. His classification is Wealth Management, and his proposer is Steve Kessler. If no written objections are received in the Rotary office by November 22nd, the proposal will be given a second reading and voted on by the club. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Now continuing our membership excitement, our very own David Campbell, past president, is here to introduce a new member.
Thank you, President Montgomery. So today I have the honor of introducing Cindy Tonages, got it? It's phonetically spelled, is a proud 1991 graduate of Texas A&M University. Waiting for that. She has a business analysis degree. She's married to her high school sweetheart, Gary, and they had 2 children, 1 girl, 1 boy. And now they're empty nesters, as I am too, and it's wonderful, isn't it? Cindy and her husband, Gary, work together in a Fort Worth IT services firm, and their focus is on risk mitigation. Cindy, the mic is yours.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here and be receiving my red badge, going through all of that. I've already had a chance to meet some of you at the guest table, and so I look forward to getting to know more of you, and I appreciate the membership. Fort Worth is such an amazing community, and I had never heard of Rotary before this year. So best kept secret, maybe? Anyway, I'm excited to be here. Jim Parr challenged me to tell something funny. So I was telling David that my last name is Tonages, and when you see it, you're going to look at it and not get it right. So I told him my husband and I dated for 6 years. And when Gary proposed, I said, I guess this means I need to figure out how to say your last name, right? So I had literally called my future in-laws Mrs. T and Colonel T for 6 years. So, but here's my favorite Aggie joke. Why don't Aggies like M&Ms? They're too hard to peel. Hello. Thank you. Thank you.
Come over here, Miss Cindy.
Okay. Okay, sure.
All right. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Cindy. So glad you're here.
Woohoo, thank you.
Good job. Thank you, David, and welcome, Cindy. I must share that Cindy is already busy checking off her blue badge checklist. Yes, an overachiever, another overachiever we have. Welcome to our Rotary family, Cindy. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our chairperson of the day, our own Miss Maddie Compton, retired federal prosecutor. Miss Maddie, it's all yours.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure now to introduce you to our speaker for the day, Mr. Cedric Huckabee. Andrea Packard, director of the List Gallery at Swarthmore College, wrote this statement in an article about Mr. Huckabee. Although Cedric began the series by drawing subjects he encountered near his neighborhood in Fort Worth, Huckabee's ongoing series focused less on locale than on the process of affirming people who might otherwise remain unseen or unimportant. Although racial and economic biases persist within a globalized consumer culture and often reinforce stereotyping, his exhibit, The 99%, affirms the ongoing ability of art to affirm and extend our common humanality. In commenting on location, Huckabee states, "I was born in Fort Worth in 1975, and I continue to live and work in the same area today. It has been an inspiration to come home to serve my community after being given the opportunity to study at Boston University, Yale University, and at museums all over the world. After learning about the global art world, I also learned about another simple lesson. The art that I am most occupied with is about the themes, people, and places of my hometown. I found that I could address the issues of global importance through dealing with the same issues within my local community, so I decided to move back home. Since returning, I have married Letitia, and for those of you who don't know, his very talented wife has an exhibit at the Modern at this time. Our creativity is not limited to art. We also have 3 creative children. His top awards are with the Outwin Buchiver Portrait Competition, Honorable Mention Award, Guggenheim Award, Joan Mitchell Foundation Award, Lewis Comfort Tiffany Grant, Elizabeth Greenshield Award, Brandeis Mortimer Hayes Traveling Fellowship, American Academy of Arts and Letters Award, and a Fulbright Fellowship. He has selected public collections at the Whitney Museum of Art, Boston Museum of Fine Art, Art Institute of Chicago, Minneapolis Institute of Arts, American Embassy in Namibia, San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, Amon Carter Museum of American Art, Yale University Art Gallery, Harvard Museum of Art, National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C., and a portrait of our own member, honorary member Opal Lee, the grandmother of Juneteenth, hangs in the National Portrait Gallery in Washington, D.C. In September 2024, Broadway Baptist Church commissioned a painting as an act of reparation. The memorial portrait was to be of a Mr. John Thomas, a custodian at the church for 35 years, who could not sit in the sanctuary during worship services due to the church's practice of segregation. Mr. Thomas, who considered Broadway to be his church, sat on the steps of the baptistery during church services for those 35 years. The Artist Selection Committee offered the commission to Cedric Huckabee. The portrait, entitled "Mr. Thomas, Please Come Up Higher to Sit," hangs permanently in the narthex of Broadway Baptist Church at 305 West Broadway. You are encouraged to come and visit and view the work of our speaker today, Cedric Huckabee.
Well, thank you so much for that warm introduction. That was, I was wondering who you were talking about for a minute there. Thank you, Maddie, for reaching out to me. Thank you, Rotary Club, for allowing me to come and do this presentation. And I hope it'll be enlightening or helpful or something. And this is the clicker? Like I can click through with it? Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna generally just give a short talk about the work I've done over the years. And the title here, let's see if I can work this. Okay, so I call it the continuing contemplation of faith, family, and community. And the reason I call it continuing because I've given these talks about the contemplation of faith, family, and community, and so it's a continuing conversation. I thought I would start off with this image of from the Amon Carter. The Amon Carter was one of the local museums that gave me my first opportunity in the area to show at an area museum. And this was one of the pieces up. I think it's a good piece to start with because you see large-scale quilt paintings, and a big part of my career has to do with dealing with average, everyday people. The quilts, my grandmother was a quilter, and probably many of your grandmothers or mothers, and maybe some of you in this room. And so one of the things I have to say too, just as a small comma, I'm gonna go through a number of things. Some of these images I won't stay on fast, because I got a lot of images here, but I'm gonna try to make my way through them and try to make a point. But so this is one of my paintings, large scale quilt painting. It's about 18 feet tall. And that's one of the places where many people start to know me as a painter in this area. So I deal with a lot of, and this presentation is gonna deal with contemplations of faith and family and community. And what you're gonna see the next few slides is these portraits of family done in different media, but I'm really doing the same idea. I'm just switching the mediums, I'm kind of tweaking how it's done, but the whole idea was I was trying to do this portrait of my family individually and then put them together as an image, okay? So I'll slide through, let's see, sorry. I'll slide through a couple of these and you can see how these are just sketches, and these simple sketches led to maybe this larger piece. And the piece is called The Huckabees. And it's an interesting piece because it was a way for me through art to connect to my family name. I'd always known this other group of Huckabees. I saw them in the newspaper growing up, but never knew them. And so in this project, I had to actually meet another group of Huckabees who spell their name the same way as me and create this portrait where it's investigating how we're connected. So part of them is the family that I know, and then part is those other Huckabees that I just recently met. This is a detail of that. And you can kind of see in the detail the style of painting that I've become known for, which is the thick use of impasto. And a lot of the portraits, I like to do them from life. It makes it a little more engaging, and it's just, I have a whole theory about it. I don't know if I have time to explain, but let me keep going. I'll try to explain as I go, but I like to try to do them from life. They don't always happen that way, but I'll talk a little bit about that. But there's something about the use of the paint, the way that I use it too, like try to use it in an expressive way. Let's see, I think I might have clicked my order there. Okay, well, this is another family portrait that I did. It was probably, Sonadores is the name of the picture. It's called The Dreamers. And the young child who's in the frame that's sort of ornate was one of the dreamers. And I was doing the groups of people separate and bringing them together in a family portrait. And, you know, part of the reason for that is like everybody has a kind of individuality. But when we come together as family, if you come together as the Rotary family or the Rotary group, you have individuals, but then there's a collective unity. And I wanted to talk about the unity and variety in a family. This is a detail that in recent work, some of the putting different people together has to do with putting different mediums together too, like sculpture and painting working together. These pieces started. They're some of my more recent endeavors, and by recent I would say last 5 years. And they're interesting because, for me, because I use the window plane of the painting to talk about different places or spaces, sometimes even different times. A person from one time standing next to a person from another time. Many times, the images are unlikely connections, things that probably couldn't happen, and we make them happen in the art. And I'll try to explain that a little more. But in this picture, the young lady, there's it's actually a sort of powerful image of a woman with a low cut haircut standing behind her, and it's the images are about life size, but I don't have I wish I had the exact sizes on the images. These pieces are paper mache sculptures and oil paintings. And this one is called Amen, or Amen. And you see the figures, one figure is looking at the other figure, the painting, the other figure is looking at a sonogram image and then looking out toward the figure standing in front. And it's a contemplation about a loss, but also sort of contemplating that whole loss through lenses of faith. So it's kind of like, I think there was a Eric Clapton song where do you know my name? Do you know, what's that song called? Tears from Heaven. And he's contemplating if the child would know him if he saw his face in heaven. And that's a similar thing. The people are in the world of the image. The sculpture is in our three-dimensional world, but somehow they've gotten a sense that they're still here and they're connected, but she's looking at the sonogram and she's looking out at this older person. I want to just show you what things look like in the studio. This is making that piece. And I think it's cool kind of to see behind the scenes how things get created and what they look like in a messy studio. For me, that's my daughter. She's helping me make the paper mache. The other daughter is just keeping the spirits up. And that's actually my son doing the posing there. And so that's what it looks like working on some of these pieces. Again, it's that same sort of theme about family and also about loss. But I want you to so the first time I tried to do something about, I wanted to try to talk about losing a child, okay? And so that's why you see the child in that image behind sort of the shadow figure. But I did portraits of everybody and I sort of just stuck them side by side, and they're really large, about 8 feet tall. by about maybe 6 by 8 or something like that. But I kept working on this idea, and it got better as you go along. And eventually, was the presentation of it, which I thought was a better orchestration of that idea. Like, it puts it together. And the large images standing like that, the paintings, they literally become like those pictures you put on a either on a desk or on, inside the couch. They look kind of like that grouping, but they're super large. Here's some, I'll kind of go through some close-ups. What I had to do, that work was so large that at the time when I made it, it wasn't very much a possibility that somebody was going to buy the whole thing. You're talking about like 8-foot tall portraits, and they're spread out, 25 feet that way. So eventually, I did sell the pieces, but I had to sell them individually. And that's part of the art world. That's part of, art. If you decide to make something that large, then you have to figure out where is it going to go? What are you going to do with that? This is a work, one of the works that I did that in the introduction, Maddie talked about the 99%. And it's basically like a portrait of a community. And I'll talk a bit more about it as we go along, but so it's 101 images. And I went around the community talking with people, and if they were willing to sit for a painting, and if they had time enough for me to sketch them, I would do the sketches, and I would be talking to them, and I would take some little snippet from my conversation and write it on the sketches. Well, that became this project, and the Amon Carter was the first museum in the area that decided to show it. I love the people at the Amon Carter. I think we have let's see, maybe we can I don't know if I can do that from here. Maybe I can. Let's see. Example of putting it up, how it goes up. Well, no, I can't. So these are some of the sketches, and I could go a long ways, but I'm gonna flip through a little faster. So that project, what was important about that project was listening to everyday people in the community it was the community that I grew up in, and creating a drawing and a project that was about listening. Like, I learned how to listen in that project. And after that, then I started doing other projects where I would go into communities or go into places and do like these drawings or sketches and listening to people. And this is another one. This one happened at a hospital in Philadelphia, where they invited me to do this project where I would go into the hospital and do drawings of patients, of doctors, of staff, and do the same thing, listen. And then it all became a large project. And the project included the work, it included the presentation of the work, and part of what you see in the picture is the person to the right of me is a singer, and then there was a videographer. And the singer was listening as well. And so when we did our presentation, we did a presentation that had to do with art, and then she was finding songs that had to do with some of what different people, the essence of what they were saying when they were talking to us. And so it was a beautiful presentation in that hospital. There are also some wonderful, interesting things that happened, like this gentleman, he was one of the doctors actually, and I was listening to him talk about all of the work that he had done in the hospital, and I thought, this is an exceptional guy. And so I did it, behind him he was sitting right in front of the place where they award people like these special awards for people who do great things in the hospital. Usually they have retired from out of the hospital. But I put him, before the drawing was over, I put him on one of those things, and it just so happened he was the next one up to receive one. To take y'all a little bit behind the scenes on what these sessions look like, because at the end of the day, the reason I talked about drawing from life is because the process, something of the organic nature of the process ends up expressing itself in the final work, like the connection that you have with people. And when you do that, actually, people bring their own energy to the table. Like, you see those arms? They look like, you know, when he was talking, he moved his hands a lot. And, but I want y'all to hear him because he was an amazing patient. And let me see if I can, how do I play, can I play that? So Mr. Williams, he said this one thing, and you're gonna find this through I found it through all of the people, stuff I've talked to. He said, I come from a family where people like to laugh. And that's good medicine. And we all know that, but when you practice it, you'll find out the truth of that statement.
Probably about 6 weeks ago, I texted you.
This is Mr. Charles Williams.
Well, I'm going to say you introduce yourself.
Insulin at that time. And I sat there and I actually cried like a baby because this insulin thing, I seen my mother go through it. This day my mother was living, I sat with her for the whole day. For some reason, I didn't go to church. I sat with her and watched her. Because the hospital, the doctor sent her home, stayed on the weekend. And he said, if she make it through the weekend, or you can bring her back Monday. So I told the doctor, I said, Doc, he's sending her home to die. What can I do over the weekend that you can pass away? And even today, I had the feeling that if I had to stay, this is only me talking, if I had to stay there, selfishly, just to keep her alive, I think about that even now, you know. And, but she was an amazing woman. She died at age 65, you know, and everybody in my family didn't reach 66. Every person in my family died in their 60s.
Wow.
You know, every person in my family died in their 60s.
Wow.
And so, I mean, yeah, in the 60s, like, didn't go past 65. And my mother died 65, my father died, all my aunts died about 65. And the funny thing about it, I was 64, 11 months and 29 days. I didn't want to go to sleep. I didn't want to go to sleep. But God brought me through. Yeah. So I'm 80 years old now. Oh, wow. You know, so God's been grateful. Yeah, I'm 80 years old now.
All right. He said when he got 64, he didn't want to go to sleep before he turned 65, because all of those stories, those connections, they find a way of coming through somehow in the work. At a certain point, you all, this is a little bit, I thought I'd show this real fast, a project that I did during the pandemic, when all of the, there was a lot of protesting going on because of the case that had just passed. And so Ms. Peoples asked me about doing a street mural. Now, y'all been seeing my work. I do like portraits, I'm a fine artist, and this street mural thing, but so I thought I'd give it a shot. It's not really my thing, but what the design you see, this was a lot of people were doing these street murals. This was the one, the design that I came up with. And the whole idea here was that people could sign the end and the now. in the project. So part of the process was that when we roll out the letters, people could come up and sign their name to the end and the now. This project happened in downtown on Main Street. And it was a wonderful project. I didn't, you know, it was interesting to act as an artist outside of the role of studio artist. And more I find myself doing that as we go on. Let's see. Here's an image of it using the one of the little drones. And it took a lot of coordination. You know, it seemed like one of the easier things to do, like right, end racism now. You know, like how hard to, but that was actually hard to do. Let's go on. Oh, let's see. Okay. So some of the portraits that I do portraits, people in my community, family members. This was a drawing that I did of Miss Opal. And I've done several pictures of Mrs. Opal. So the portraits that I do in looking at the community, actually I look at a broad spectrum of who our community is. This one of Miss Opal. Here's one of George W. I included that. People a lot of times will ask me about the portrait of George. I taught him painting, and I'm one of the, there are 4 paintings of George W. Bush from life that were ever done. All the other ones are from photos, and those 4 paintings from life, I did all 4 of them. Here's one. Another portrait in the community is this one. Did you play that?
Igniting the flame to burn the darkness down into the womb. The light goes, igniting the flame, igniting the flame, igniting the flame into the womb, into the womb, into the womb, into the womb. Into the light, into the light, into the light, into the light, ooh, into the light, into the light, into the light, into the light, ooh, into the light, into the light, into the light, into the light, ooh, into the light, into the light, into the light, into the light, to the light.
So this portrait was called Contemplating Fred Rouse. And it was a portrait that I was doing in contemplation of Mr. Fred Rouse, which is the only person who is listed in Tarrant County record as being lynched here in Fort Worth. And there were no pictures of Fred Rouse. And so in this portrait, how do you do a portrait of somebody with no pictures? And I had to think about it. And so I started thinking about, all of the issues surrounding his lynching. And the whole issue was, to put it in a nutshell, that Fred Rouse could have been anybody, any black person during that time who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. So you see in the images, it starts with this older guy, and the images keep getting younger and younger and younger, all the way to the young kid at the end. This same project, I've since met Fred Rouse Jr., who's around town, and I did this whole thing over again using his family. And the music that's on this one is replaced by Fred Rouse III singing A Change Is Gonna Come. So that'll be seen at my next exhibition. Sorry. So I'm coming around the corner here, y'all. We're going for, this is a portrait of my grandmother. And one of the things that I'm working on now, when I first got back to the area, I started doing a series of portraits about Big Mama and her house. I was thinking about black families, black family unit, that is Big Mama. What I didn't know was this group of paintings would be paintings of her in the last 2 years of her life. But I would go over the house, I would make paintings, and sometimes other family members there, and that was the whole idea, was to start with her and then branch out to the rest of the family members. My grandfather passed away many years ago, so on my mother's side, it was Big Mama. After she passed away, I kept painting paintings at the house, and that's some of these, of the empty spaces. And after people started taking things out, eventually I got that house. I bought it from the family. They allowed me to have it, to turn into a space that was about connecting to the community. And that space I look at like a work of art even now. So you're seeing it as in the paintings. Here it is again, the house. This is the actual house. When I got it, I was working on it. And we've been working on it for a while. And we have turned it, you saw it first in paintings. There was a whole group of works called Big Mama's House that went on exhibition. And then after that, there was a group of paintings of Big Mama's children and the empty rooms in the house. But now the house itself is actually a work of art. We kept working on it. And it's now called Kinfolk House. That's what it looks like. And we do collaborative exhibitions or collaborative projects in the community where we try to engage the community through art. And those engagements are all types. We promote collaboration. We'll usually find a local artist, a regional, and a national artist, and see if we can get them to collaborate on projects. But we're not just looking for artists, we're looking for creatives. And we're 3 years in existence, but we've had a good time. I mean, really, like, first project, me and my wife, we were two of the artists in opening up the space. We called it Welcome. And these were paintings of some of the people who knew the house, lived around the house. I was dealing with death in the black family with this group of works. I'm gonna shoot through these kind of fast. Some of the projects included collaborations where we would go outside of the house. So we did this what do you call it, satellite project at North Park Mall. And I'm gonna scoot past that, you all. And this final piece is a singer, Brandy Pace, singing at the house. And a little excerpt from that. Let's see. Play it.
How to
I'm going to end right here. There's some continuing things that are going on, but the project Kinfolk House has been a wonderful work of art. If you want to know how is that a work of art, I would say think Magic School Bus. The project is like the Magic School Bus, and you know how it would sort of transform into whatever it needed to be in order to bring learning to the group of students. Well, the house is transformed into whatever it needs to be in order to bring uplift to the community, and that's how it's a work of art. Our next opening, by the way, is tomorrow, and we're doing a project that deals with quilts. So I think I'm going to stop there.
Cedric, thank you so much. Thank you for everything you shared, and this is what makes the fabric of our community so special, and to be here in Fort Worth. So thank you so much for what you've given. If you can stay for a few moments, I know there'll be questions. I also know Mr. Fred Rouse is here. I saw him. So don't go too far. Thank you. I knew I saw you. Thank you for sharing. And for your time today, made a donation in your name, contribution to the Rotary Polio Plus Foundation to work to eradicate polio.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We look forward to continuing to watch you grow in all of your, oh my gosh, your art is amazing. This is beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Everyone, don't go far. He'll be right here. Just a few closing announcements. Again, thank you to our sponsors, Team Compton, for sponsoring the program today and for sharing this special message, and Mr. Cedric with us. This is wonderful. Also for past Rotarian Gordon Boswell, who allows for this beautiful floral arrangement to be here every week. We appreciate that. Of course, dues are due, everyone. Get them in. You can take care of that by following up with Aurora, looking at our website. And also, it is time to elect our 2025-2027 board of directors. You'll be receiving an email with nominees and the voting information with the voting link. Only vote once. Also, make sure and sign up for the We Care Holiday program. As Greg shared, you can sign up right at your table. Today, we have our Finance Committee meeting at 1:15 in the Rotary office, 3rd floor. And next week, you'll want to come and hear about the future of the stockyards with Paul Payne, president of Fort Worth Stockyards. Everyone, have a great weekend. We are adjourned.